Hi, welcome back to Cheyenne, Wyoming Urban Gardener. This is Debbie. You'll see a few plants here that are a little wilted. These are some strawberries. What happened was we had separated the crowns on these. This is the 10 strawberry plants I believe I had in a previous video where we had separated all of these crowns. I got basically 2 containers of strawberries, and there ended up being 5 crowns or 5 crowns that were separated from 1 crown, and we went ahead and got those on separated and then transplanted them, and you can see that most of them have perked back up. This is the original crown over here that's a little wilted, and basically it's a little wilted because it dried out quite a bit. This was tilted a little bit and ended up drying out, but you can see that it will perk back up. I just finished watering it, and we've got some water down in the tray right now, and it ended up, after I separated all these, of being 10 strawberries. Now, the 10 strawberry plants looked exactly like this after I first separated them. After a couple of hours, they wilt like this because it just shocks them to separate the crown, because you're actually breaking the root system a little bit to separate it. But once we got it all separated, you can see we have new growth down in here. This was an original crown, and this one was an original crown, and you can see this one's all nice and perky because it was still damp, so we didn't have any issue with it drying out. Every once in a while when I sit these back in the conservatory, I will kind of forget sometimes that they need to be watered every day, especially when they're fresh crown separations like this. So I missed watering that one, but it'll perk up here in a moment. You can see there's plenty of new growth in there in the center. But this is what happens after you separate the crowns. I basically got 2 containers of strawberries. This is what they looked like. I believe they were from Burpee. Actually, I may have transplanted these. I got these at Menards. Yeah, they're from Burpee. So here's what they are. They are the white strawberries. Sorry, I got this upside down. So they're going to be a smaller variety of strawberry, but I found out that all of my strawberries are actually not that small. And these are the Berries Galore White, and I have the Berries Rose. So I have some of these already that said they were small fruit, but they ended up being strawberries that were like this big. So they will end up being quite large strawberries in the end. But these are a white variety, and this already, look at this. This is already perking up right now. I'm just standing here. So they all have perked up very, very well. So I've got 9 of them here that are all nice and perky. This one was the one that suffered the most when I separated it because it was still rather small crown. But you can see it has perked up. We do have some new growth in there. And this one was the second worst one. And it has also perked up quite a bit. And they will perk up even more. And once we get them planted outside, they will take off just like crazy. And end up looking quite nice. Here's one that has a new growth in the center, and we have all kinds of new growth on this one that we separated from, and just they're all looking really, really well. This one's a little bit wilty, but it is going to come back out because I planted this one a little bit too deep. You can see it here. You do not want to cover the crown when you've got these separated, or at any time. Do not cover the crowns on strawberries, but all of them look quite nice. They will perk back up, and then we will get these guys outside and planted. Let's go have a look at the strawberry bed outside. So here is my strawberry bed outside. It's very, very sunny, so you're going to see a cast of my shadow, but you can see they are all blooming out here now. And we do have 20 more crowns that are planted in here, and they were quite dry when I got them, so I'm not real sure they're going to end up doing anything. So I'm kind of saddened by that, but I didn't pay very much for them, so I'm not too worried. But we do have plenty of strawberries out in here, and we do need to separate the crowns on these as well. But I think I'm going to go ahead and leave them for one more season just as they are, because we will be moving these anyway once we get moved. So once we do that, then I will most likely go ahead and separate the crowns as it is when we get moving. So anyway, there's all of those strawberries. These are seascape strawberries, mountain strawberries, and I believe there's a couple of quinault in here that I transferred from my strawberry bed in the north side of the house. So anyway, this one is actually all full now. So we will start expanding into some of the other converted kiddie pools with our strawberries, probably this one. Either one of them actually will be nice to do. We've actually got lots of the containers out here planted already. We've got cress coming up. We've got some ranunculus out here in freesia. And I planted a few roses. We've got a yellow, a red, and I believe a peach colored mini rose. These are all mini roses out here. And we can take these in during the winter. And we've got, that's just several things growing. We've got some bee balm planted that is coming up. And today it is May 4th, and it is 75 degrees out here today in Cheyenne, Wyoming, and we are Garden Zone 5A, 5B. So we are really getting a jump on the growing season so far. I'm getting ready to plant some potatoes. I just planted some hyacinth beans, which are a new one for me. They're more of a decorative variety of bean that comes from Africa, and you can eat the leaves on them. They're like spinach, supposedly, and you can eat a couple other things on them, but you cannot eat the beans unless you boil them several times, because the beans are a little bit toxic. So just bear that in mind if you look for hyacinth beans. But they're supposed to be absolutely beautiful, beautiful purple blooms, nice long vines, about 10 to 15 feet long. So I'm running them up on the fence that we have in front of our house. And other than that, we've got lettuces growing and radishes growing. I've planted the carrots, and I have planted rutabaga and several other things at this point. I've gotten planted some spinach. The spinach actually looks quite nice. I have it in a container over here. Right here is the spinach, and it's actually getting mature leaves on it now. And then we've got some tomato plants transferred outside. They're suffering a little bit because one of them actually, that one got broken. So hopefully it'll reroot itself. But we've had a little issue with some of the birds this year. For some reason they want to break the tomato plants off. And so I'm going to have to put probably some streamers, things like that. You can use tape, like an old cassette tape, tie that up, or you can use pans. And looks like we've already got a cabbage moth fluttering around, or cabbage butterfly fluttering around. See that? Yep, that happens. And we've got some cilantro that's coming up quite thickly. We've got celosia, king coral celosia that's planted, and parsley, and fennel's coming up. And then, of course, this is the patch where we're going to do the potatoes, and we will be planting it a little bit different this season, because we have more shade towards the building. So we're going to plant our potatoes over here, and over here we're going to be planting the corn all in here. So that's where that's going to go. We've got onions planted, and the onions are beginning to come up. We have brought our tomatillos outside to get those acclimated to the outside, and they already did. I just put them out yesterday, and they immediately greened up and started just growing like crazy. And they've only been out here one day, 24 hours. And then we've got some of our tomato plants out here, and they did the same thing. They perked right up. I need to get those watered real quickly because it looks like they're dried out a little bit. We've got basil coming up, and we've got tomato plants. We've got some cilantro over here. This is some that I transplanted. It's a little wilty. That's what happens when you transplant cilantro outside, because it doesn't like its roots disturbed. But we do have plenty of other cilantro, but this is perking up today, I've noticed. And then we've got some more tomato plants. But we're getting everything started. You can see our onions are getting some green tops on them. And I've had a little struggle with the birds pulling the onions out as well. And I keep putting them back. So I think we've got ourselves a little magpie that's been doing some business around here that shouldn't be. So we'll get our streamers tied up and things like that, and that'll scare those off. And once you get them tied up, keep moving them, because that's the key to having it always look kind of scary to the birds, and they'll stay out of your garden. So lots of things going on already. So like, subscribe, hit the notification bell for notices on videos as they come out, and we will see you in the next one.